Welcome to Riding in the Weeds. You are here with us for episode 92. We're taking steps towards 100. We're pretty excited about this. So first, we'd just like to celebrate episode 92. That's a big deal. And that's a lot of reps of doing this thing. And I can tell you that when we started this podcast, we had no idea what we were doing. We sat down, we recorded it. We had to figure out how to edit it. We had to figure out how to put it on a thing. We needed a platform. We needed all of the stuff. And we are at 92 reps, and now we have our system dialed in. It's not perfect, and it's always being improved. However, we're a lot better today than we were when we started. Today's episode is about doing the reps and how doing the reps gets you to where you're going. We're going to dig into a little bit of perfectionism. Is it important? Is it not important? We're going to throw back to a little bit of our goals that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, because even though Ginny only wants to lightly go there, there is deadlines and things like that that come along with doing the reps, having some sort of timeline that goes along with it, and how that can help you succeed. This podcast is inspired by one that I was sent the other day. Ed Mylett, he did a podcast which was all about why some people succeed faster and how you can do that too. And we loved the topic. We loved the concept. And Ginny was like, reps. Let's talk about reps because I'm all about this. If you just listened to episode 91, this is a really good follow on from that conversation as well. So you are here with your friends Ginny and Tash. I am Tash. I am a life performance mountain bike coach, and I'm just all about helping you remove the resistance and get straight to the reps. So if you're wanting to set up your business so that you can get clients, so that you've got a website that works, I do that. If you have an idea for an online course that you're really, really keen to get out into the world, or maybe you don't know, but you have an idea and you'd like to know if you can get it out into the world, I got you. I do that. And that all draws into this whole idea of what is your dream? What are you wanting to do? Let's sit down, let's create a strategy, and let's get through the resistance to the other side so you can start making these reps, so you can start putting timelines onto things, and you can make that stuff really happen for you. Ginny, what do you do? Who are you? And then we can get started.
Yeah, I'm Ginny Brandon. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. If you are struggling to get reps in with your pets, whether that's walks or exercise or even training, then that is certainly a conversation we can have. I work intuitively with your pet to find out their perspective on the world and your challenges. And then together we put together a plan so that you all can get back to more harmony.
So funny. Some people have these canned starts to their podcast where it introduces them and then they get into the podcast. But if you've been listening, thank you so much for being here with us every week. Thank you for tuning in and welcome back. If this is your first time here, then I hope you appreciate just how polished we are.
I hope you'll appreciate hanging on through the weeds with us.
Right? And thank you for joining us. And we really hope you enjoy this. And if someone sent you this or shared this with you, please say thank you to them on our behalf. I was just thinking as Ginny's doing her introduction, if you've been here a while, you'll notice that generally we say something slightly different every time. And that's part of the fun of it, right? I was just saying to Ginny that when it comes to reps and stuff like that, this is slightly off topic, but when I'm doing these challenges with our yoga, and it's a 30-day, 15-minute evening yoga challenge, the amount of brain space, because we do these yin things and you're in a pose for 3 to 5 minutes, so I forget to think about my breathing, and I start wondering how many of these sessions the instructor did in one go, and did they just sit down for 6 hours and just bang them all out? And I'm like, that's impressive. How awesome is this person, right? And just the diligence and the time and the energy that somebody has actually taken to create whatever it is, whatever content you are consuming. Somebody has put a whole lot of time and energy, and there's a lot of stuff and reps and things that have gone on behind the scenes. And it's like podcasts, these people sit down and they'll whack out 12 of them in one day and then slowly release them. Or Ginny and I, we don't often do this, but we're doing 2 in a row. If you're watching us on YouTube, you might be wondering that. And so I'm going to be straight up honest so you don't have to think about it. Yep. And this is something we've been trying to do forever. And I'm on a deadline. So I'm going to talk really fast so we get this all done. No, I'm kidding. Ginny, let's launch into this whole idea. What did you get out of this concept of reps?
Yeah. There were 2 facts that he threw in there that really blew my mind. And one of them was, and I think this is a little bit like the peek behind the curtain, right? We see people who are great at something, but the reality is we don't know what it takes to be great. So often it's like, oh, they're naturally talented. Maybe, but I can guarantee their reps that they are doing. And this was 2 of the things that he spoke about, was that Tiger Woods at the peak of his career was hitting 1,000 golf balls a day. That's insane.
That's totally insane. Can you imagine?
He said he was basically training for 10 hours a day. That's nuts. The other one he put in there was that Steph Curry, who's an NBA basketball player, again, has the highest basket rate. I don't know basketball stats very well, but has some of the highest ratings in the NBA, like miles above other guys. He was shooting 500 baskets a day in practice. And that's a lot.
Well, as humans, we are inherently lazy. I just want to call that out. Some people aren't born way more dedicated and way more aligned than other people. We all have the capacity to get that focused on something that we're like, yeah, let's go and hit 1,000 golf balls a day. And the whole talk around Steph Curry was like, he was already the best. So why did he need to keep doing that? And then he went into examples about like Adele and how all these performing artists, we all know if you're paying attention, Taylor Swift, the amount of time she spent on the treadmill singing songs, training for that concert. She didn't just get up one day and be like, yeah, I know all these songs, I'm just going to go and do a concert, which is what you think. I mean, this person's been singing these songs forever. They're adept at concerting. They perform on a daily basis. But not one performer that is performing at their highest level is doing it off the cuff. They are practicing. We're 92 reps, and we're really good at talking. We've been practicing this for a long time.
My whole life, apparently, according to my mother.
Well, actually, I didn't talk for like the first couple of years of my life. I'd get my brother to talk for me. So the joke is that I've been catching up ever since. One of my friends was tailguiding with me one day when we were doing one of my snowshoe tours. And we've got this group of ladies in front of us, and they're all a little bit nervous, and a couple of them have like never snowshoed before. And she looks at them, she looks completely deadpan. She's like, how long you been walking for? We're like, what? Like my whole life? Yeah. So you're
fine.
An expert. All we're doing is putting these things on your feet so you can walk in the snow without post-holing and slipping over. And what you're going to do is what you have been doing ever since you were like 2 years of age is, I don't even know, probably earlier than that when the kids go from crawling to walking. But you're just going to do what you know how to do. And we don't even think about it. You get in the car, you drive your car, you don't even think about it. It's just what you do. What is interesting is like how many times have you done too many of the wrong reps?
Yeah. So this is where I want to get into a little bit different aspect of this conversation, because there is something that we need to discuss in here that is the quality versus quantity. Ooh. And you can poorly practice something for hours and hours a day versus spending a shorter amount of time really honing in on the quality of whatever you're doing. And this is a choice point. I don't know that Ed Mylett would necessarily agree with this or not, but my example is there was a time when I was super busy, I was working full time, and the only work my horse got was once a month lesson with my trainer. But the thing is, that once a month hour was of the highest quality that we could manage at that time. And the result was he pretty much never backslid. And what's fascinating to me is I hear from many riders who say things like, I have to ride for 20 minutes to get back to the point where I was yesterday when I stopped. And that is a huge red flag to me. It tells me that the quality of your work is not where it needs to be, because you shouldn't need to do that much work to get back to where you were before. Warming up, yes. Stretching or pre-work, yes, that's different. You won't perform immediately at the exact same place you were. You have to do warm-ups and things like that. But you shouldn't need to put in max effort for 20 minutes to get back to where you were the day before when you quit after an hour or more of your work. So that tells me that there's an issue with the level of quality that you are putting in, and that the work you're doing is probably not as effective as it could be. That's not a personal slam. It just means you need to go find different information to improve your quality so that you can improve your output, because you should be able to generate a level of work. I guarantee you that Tiger Woods and Steph Curry and Adele, their level of practice is probably many people's level of performance or better.
Absolutely.
And that was the example Ed Mylett gave, right? He apparently was neighbors with Adele, so it tells you something about him. And she was doing karaoke at her house, and he didn't even realize that it was her. And then he heard her singing and was like, holy cow.
I don't think it was her to start with, and then it was her. So I want to jump in here and say that I actually think that he would agree with everything you had to say, and that's because there is some serious science that actually backs up what you're talking about. So there's a book called The Little Book of Talent, which I have on audio. I actually bought the hardcover, and I've been meaning to reread it because it's fabulous. It's kind of like the handbook to another book that Daniel Coyle wrote, the book The Talent Code. And to write the Talent Code, he went to all of the places where the phenoms are born. Like, why is it that this particular tennis school has had more Grand Slam winners than any other place? And why does this music college produce the most number? Why does this town have more of hockey stars than by average on proportion? So he went to all of these places and studied what the technique was. And in every single case, it was 100% what you just said. It was quality over quantity. And he talks about this one thing that happened that they studied, and it was this little girl who wasn't a very good piano player. She was average. She wasn't anything special. She just played the piano. And one day she sat down to learn a song, and for some reason she got it in her mind that she was not going to move past her mistakes. So when she started playing and she made a mistake, she didn't just keep going. She went back and she started from the beginning, and she managed to perfect this song in this very short period of time. It's statistically impossible. And they were like, what happened here? When you do anything, you create myelin in your brain, and it's the circuit that goes from one point to the other. And you create a circuit that says this is how you do something. And every time you do it, there's a sheath that kind of gets wrapped around that circuit, and that's the myelin. And so you cement it in there. So if you do something wrong 1,000 times, you have now cemented that circuit to do it wrong 1,000 times. If you do it right over and over and over again, it will get stronger and it will get faster. The other thing I'll quickly throw in there is there's this experiment, and look it up on YouTube. It's fascinating. And it's about this bicycle, and they build the bicycle so when you turn the handlebar to the right, the wheel goes to the left. And so this guy, right? How do you do that, right? So this guy sets about learning how to ride this bike. And I think it takes him a couple of years to learn to ride this bike the wrong way. You can compare this to learning to drive on the other side of the road. There's so many different examples. But he learns how to ride this bike going the wrong way. And it takes him a couple of years. And then he is doing something and he's doing a demonstration, and then he jumps onto a regular bike, and instantly he's able to ride the regular bike. Like, there's no problem. His brain instantly goes back into that track of riding the regular bike because that's how he knows how to ride a bike, and he has done that so many times. So train track, just jumps straight back over, no big deal. He jumps back on the other bike and he can't do it. And it takes him a good amount of time for him to reroute his brain signals in those circuits back to riding this bike the wrong way around. And it's such a good example of how that one train track of how to ride the regular bike is so ingrained. I learned to drive in New Zealand. I have been driving on the other side of the road, like right up until I was 25, right? So 10 years of driving, and I was driving on the other side of the road. I came to Canada. I started driving here. I know that me and the center line don't part company, and I've got this. But if I'm in a situation and I'm teaching kids how to ride their bikes on the road, and we've got this fake road set up, and I'm suddenly like, hold on, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I will revert 100% back. And I have been living in Canada now for almost as long as I lived in New Zealand. I have been driving in Canada for longer than I drove in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But when I go back to New Zealand, it comes back so quickly. And then it takes time when I get back here to get those
consciously.
Wires. Yeah. So all of that to say, you are 100% right. Like, don't do shitty reps.
What's going on there is that there will be a series of neurons that will fire that tell us to do an action, right? Let's take something really simple, like stand up out of a chair. So we have a neurological pathway that says stand up out of the chair. And if we are doing that using, to throw back to the other episode, incorrect muscles, in order to change that pattern, we have to write a completely new neurological pattern, which this is why it explains why he could jump back on the other bike. That old circuit doesn't go anywhere. No. It's still there. It just wasn't being used. And the problem is the old circuit, kind of like the groove worn in a record, that old circuit is so much stronger because it had been used so many more times.
And it's unconscious.
So when you, yes, it gets to the point where it is no longer a conscious thought because it is that sort of worn into your brain's patterns. So when we decide we want to do something differently, hopefully with better quality, right? When we decide we want to do that, it's not as simple as editing code in the computer. You can't. You have to write completely new code. The beautiful thing is the brain is extremely plastic and can. However, that old circuit is still there. And so it's going to take longer to create the new circuit because you keep having to be conscious about making sure that the circuit that you actually want to write is the one that's being used and you're not falling back into the old pattern. But this is what muscle memory is, right? It's that neurological pathway being so strong. Like, how strong is the neurological pathway when you hit 1,000 golf balls a day?
Right?
Right? That's like 100 an hour for 10 hours. That's a lot. That muscle memory is going to be so solid at that point. And this is why it takes so long to work through those things. But quality will always beat quantity. Yeah. And when you add quantity into the mix with quality, that's when your results are going to exponentially skyrocket.
Well, and that is why breaking the habit of being yourself is difficult. Because you really need to be conscious about, like, oh, shoot, I thought that thing. No, I come from a future place.
And just like you said with the car, right? It's hard to come back to Canada and drive on the other side of the road in the beginning. It takes more effort because your brain has to consciously go, no, we're using this pathway now, not that pathway.
Yeah. And so just to throw in the other tool that he gave in the podcast, and that was deadlines. So when you are wanting to do something, and you're wanting to rewrite that pattern, if you give yourself some sort of deadline, and that can be a couple of episodes ago, we were talking about my do this affirmation for 7 days and everything will change. I put that in my phone. So 3 times a day, I always have more money than I need. I cannot help but attract a lot of money into my life. That pops up 3 times a day. And it reminds me. I have another reminder. It just popped up on my computer and it says, you can do this, Tash. And it comes up at 9 o'clock every morning. My phone says, you can do this. And then there's another one that reminds me to do my mindset reset. What's a win that you've had in the last 3 months? What's a win you've had in the last 24 hours? And what is a win you are going to create in the next 3 months? And there is a deadline to me doing those every single day because, and I'll tell you, up until this money affirmation challenge that I took on, I created into a challenge. Until that came up, I wasn't looking at my reminders. And now I've been looking at my reminders because at first I couldn't remember what the actual wording was for that. And my phone would go bleep and I'd be like, oh, Ian. And we'd say the affirmation. And then I'm like, oh, and let's do the mindset reset. And oh, that's right. I can do this. I've got this. And like by creating reminders, by creating a deadline, it gives you a reason to do the reps because otherwise you're just not going to do it. And so I'm pretty sure that Tiger Woods wasn't like every day like, woohoo, let's go and hit 1,000 golf balls. That's just how I want to spend my day. I'm already a multi-millionaire. I have this beautiful house. I'm just going to hang out and enjoy what I have. No, I'm not. I'm going to go and get my reps in, and then that had become his habit, and it is always easier to not do the work. At 9 o'clock every morning, I reach out to 3 people and I tell them about my business opportunity, or I do a Facebook post, or I missed the deadline yesterday of posting up on Facebook and Instagram about our podcast episode coming out because I was off riding my bicycle. So now I have to I missed that deadline. So what's my new deadline? Or it just won't get done this week because other things get piled up on top. You all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And we all have those choices. And I think that's what's important is Tiger Woods probably didn't want to go out there for 10 hours every single day and hit 1,000 golf balls. But guess what? If he doesn't feel great in the middle of the Masters performance, he's still going to have to perform. I'm sure that Adele and Taylor Swift don't feel like they want to go perform a concert every single time there's a concert scheduled. But you're going to have to perform at times when you don't want to. And that's where those reps are what you have to fall back on. Because when you do the reps, when you don't feel like you're 100% on your game and you're still focusing on the best quality that you can produce in that moment, that means when you get to the time when it's actually game time for you, your quality will still be there because again, you have something to fall back on. And I asked my trainer about that one time with horses because obviously they are their own beings. And so if you are in a show and you now take your horse from the farm, the nice little cozy place where you're used to being, and you go to a showground, number one, there's a ton of horses there that are unfamiliar. They're all out of their comfort zones. And everybody's a little on edge because it's competition day. So how do you deal with that situation? And her answer was the same, is you have to practice so that you have a foundation underneath you that's strong enough that when you get to that time where the situation is different because there is more pressure, or you have a deadline, or you need to be able to produce something for someone at a certain time or in a certain way, that you've got that foundation underneath you to support you. And that's how you're able to make it through to that success, even when you don't feel as good as you could.
Well, and I would say that for the last couple of years of my mountain bike coaching, I was exhausted and I was over it. But I had put in so many reps and I had done it so many times that I was running from my background programming. And once I got there and was in the moment and was coaching, That was my biggest problem of getting out. I loved being there. I loved it. I would step in and all of that work would come back and I would know exactly what I was saying and I would produce these results for people and they'd be so stoked and I'd feel so good. And I'd be like, oh no, I can keep doing this. I love doing this. That was what kept me going, was the fact that I had put in so many reps, that I knew what I was doing. And there were doubts running because I wasn't passionate about the business anymore. It wasn't that I wasn't passionate. I love coaching mountain biking. I'm like, cool, who can I work for? I'm going to go and coach for somebody else and they're going to pay me 25, 35 bucks an hour and I'll just turn up and do the thing and then leave. It wasn't the coaching that was the problem. It was the other stuff. But the reps were what would get me through. And there were days when I didn't want to go to work. But once I got there, I was like, oh my goodness, I love this. I know what I'm doing. And I think that's the same with setting yourself a deadline of reaching out to 3 people a day. It's uncomfortable. It sucks. It's really hard at the beginning. And people say no, or they don't respond, or you get ghosted. And it doesn't matter what you're doing in life. You are going to experience that. But the more reps you do, the easier it will get. And the whole quality over quantity, this is where I'm going to wrap up my little spiel here, is that's not to say it needs to be perfect. You do just need to get started. When I started back on my mat doing yoga 100%, but I used to be a fitness instructor. So it was really hard for me to go, I'm not doing these push-ups right. My quality is not great. And for the longest time, I just didn't do it because I was upset at the fact I wasn't able to do it to the same level that I expected of myself. And I'm like, I am better than this, so I'm just not going to do it at all. Well, that's not going to get you anywhere. So now I'm like, okay, I know that I'm not strong enough, and now I'm getting back to that strength. Sure, yesterday I didn't quite manage to do all the push-ups, and they didn't feel good, and they were feeling great the week before. That's the process, and you've got to do the work, even if it's not perfect. I've got to get my website copy up for my VA packages that I'm putting out. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not going to spend 10 hours making it perfect. I got to get it done. I got a website. I've got a domain name. I have that. I could do so many other things. There are just 100 different ways I could do this. But as we were talking about before, it's like, what's the most important? Do I go and buy a new mic, or do I just use the platform that I've already got? How am I going to solve this problem and get it done now? And then make it better.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's very important to be cognizant of the perfection and the fact that perfection can shut you down. You can allow that it's not going to be perfect, it's not going to look perfect, to prevent you from ever being able to get started sometimes. And it's important to start where you are, and from there continue to strive to get better and better and better and better. And that's the balance of the quality versus quantity, because there is a time and place where quantity is okay. You have to be conscious and make sure you don't injure yourself with quantity, especially imperfect quantity. But it's important sometimes to just get the rep in rather than worrying about exactly how it looks. It's a both and scenario, right? This is one of those times where you have to be able to balance what's most important, having it be perfect or having it be done.
It's so true. The first time you send out those messages to anybody about anything, they're probably not going to be the best sales pitch you've ever put out there. But it is the best that you've got right now. Or I want to create an online course and I'm going to make it so my content is absolutely dialed in and square on. That course, by the time you get it done, it's going to be out of date and you're going to have to update it. And so it never happens. So you either just do it live and wing it, which is totally valid, or you hire someone to help squeeze that information out and get it done for you. And I mean, the best thing I've ever done is hire people. Sometimes I hate them because they hold my feet to the fire and I'm like, you're really bossy. And
I
I
paid
don't
you
like
money
it.
and you're bossy.
I know, right? Can't you just make up that content? Yeah, I can, but it's going to cost you this much more. Oh, okay.
Well,
All right.
here's the thing. I'm sure Tiger Woods has a coach. I'm sure Steph Curry has a coach. I'm sure
100%.
Adele has coaches. Like all of those people have people that are one, holding their feet to the fire,
Yeah.
and two, ensuring that they've got the quality and the reps there.
Exactly. So if you're not wanting to bumble through, get a coach or hire someone to do it for you. I mean, we could talk about this for forever. And I think we can probably wrap it up there. Please share, please like, please comment. If you're on YouTube, you can comment. If you're on Substack, you can comment. If you are on Apple or Spotify and you have not done so already, please leave us a review. It would mean the world to us to know you're out there and you're listening. And it would mean the world to somebody, even if they don't even listen. I love it when people send me Instagram reels or podcasts that they've listened to or tell me about the book that they're reading and suggest it to me. I may or may not follow through on whatever it is, but I love seeing that somebody cared enough about me to send me a little present digitally. So do that for someone in your life today, and now you got a double present. You're doing something for us and doing something for your friend. You can follow us on Substack. In Substack, we have our wins chat. Highly, highly recommend popping in there. We're holding space for you to celebrate yourself every single day. And not just that, but we're also really helping to hold space for the future you. So 3 wins that you achieve today and 3 wins that you're going to achieve tomorrow. It will literally rewire your brain. And the cool thing is there's a deadline. You have to do it by the end of the day. And it doesn't matter if the following day had anything to do with the ones that you set out the day before, because we do know that our future vision is following its own path. But even just stepping out of who you were yesterday and into who you're going to become will start to rewire, will start to repattern. And if you do that every single day, I can guarantee you your life will change. It has been astounding to me how many things are starting to be in alignment since I really, at the beginning of the year, was like, I'm writing future letters to myself. I'm putting them out in the sun to grow. And now, like, the stuff that is happening for me in comfortable and really uncomfortable ways is pushing me to that vision. There's no hiding from it because that's what I put out there. So if you would like us to hold that space for you, please subscribe to Substack. And as I say, nightly wins. Super simple. Takes like less than 5 minutes. Ginny puts a bit more time into hers. Mine's like this really short little, not even bullet points. You actually put bullet points. Mine's just like this, and this is what I'm doing tomorrow. It's like, gotta go.
Neither one is wrong. Both are right. It's however it works for you, right?
Yeah, Ginny's our space holder over there, and she will give you shit if you don't turn up. So come in with intention, and you will see huge changes. So we invite you to come join us over there. I am Natasha Lockie. You can find me at Betty Go Hard on Instagram. You can find me at bettygohard.com. If you're interested in talking about any of the services that I'm offering, I have a free 15-minute consulting call. We just chat about what you're doing and if I can actually help you. And if I can, then we can work together. And if I can't, I will tell you who can. Meetwithtash.com is actually the quick way to schedule one of those. All of these links will be in our show notes. And yeah, Natasha Lockie on LinkedIn and Substack. So I look forward to seeing you out there in the world. Thank you for spending this time with us. And I'm going to let my absolutely amazing co-host close us out.
Yeah, I am Jenny Brandon. I am an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. You can find me on the web at soulpetconnections.com and on Substack, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under the same handle. Thank you for hanging on through this wild ride through the weeds today. We appreciate you being here and look forward to seeing you next time.
I love the wild ride through the weeds. We will see you guys next time. Thank you so much.